You're watching UnrealEntGaming. This is Gohan from Dragon Ball Z. You want to see me turn Super Saiyan? Or should I take it to the next level? I'm also the narrator, too. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, make sure and smash subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
With Gohan now having to complete his training with Whis following the events of the Universe 6 vs Universe 7 tournament, Gohan took it upon himself to train even harder than how he did before, in having the reoccurring memory of his family and friends having to be in trouble by the hands of Frieza and his men, with Gohan now having to take initiative in trying to perfect his training and becoming the absolute best he could possibly be. The God of Destruction of Universe 7, Beerus, understands and recognizes Gohan's efforts in improving, and now having to take it upon himself in challenging Gohan to see where he stands in comparison to his father and in comparison to Vegeta. As on the previous manga chapter video, we covered the premise of what it would actually be like to see Gohan train with Whis momentarily on Beerus' planet, but now another challenger has his sights set on Gohan, as Gohan is now tasked and required in battling against the God of Destruction Beerus for the first time since Battle of Gods. As once more before we begin, if you are new to this channel and have a love and passion for all things Dragon Ball and anime related, then be sure to smash that subscribe button on this channel and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload, along with giving this video a big thumbs up by slapping that like button down below if you guys love Dragon Ball and anime, as well as checking out the official Dragon Ball fan mangas playlist located down in the description box below, to where on that playlist you guys will be able to find all the latest and best Dragon Ball fan mangas created by the community for the community. So be sure to head on down below, check out the official Dragon Ball fan mangas playlist for all the best and latest videos on Dragon Ball fan mangas, as we kick off the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Ascension of Gohan manga chapter number 2 special, with Beerus being shown rubbing his hands together as he went along to tell a battle damaged Gohan, "Well, Saiyan, it appears you still have some fight in you," with Gohan having to respond, "I do, Lord Beerus. I don't want to fall behind in my training, especially with what happened on Earth." As Beerus went along to tell Gohan, "Well then, how about one more fight then?" As Gohan is baffled, he went along to ask, "What? You mean against you? But I don't think I'm ready to go up against you yet." As Beerus responds, "It doesn't matter if you're ready or not, Saiyan. You don't have a choice." Because Beerus had seen what Gohan was able to do with Whis in hanging on to his training, so with that being said, Beerus had already prompted the idea of setting up a battle between himself and Gohan, considering Gohan's abilities and potential, as Whis then steps forward in having to comment, "Well, if you're going to fight again, I'll heal you," as Beerus goes on to tell him, "Hurry up, Whis, I don't have all day," with Gohan then having to comment, "Well, as long as you promise not to kill me, then I'm all in for it. It should be fun. I haven't engaged against you since the time you fought my dad on Earth. This should be fun." And as Whis then proceeds to go on ahead and fully heal Gohan, now Gohan not only has experience and training with Whis, but he is significantly more powerful than how he was initially when he first came onto the planet. And with Whis then fully healing Gohan, Gohan stands there in anticipation as he knows that Beerus is not going to be a pushover. He quickly charges on in as Beerus then goes on to tell him, "Good, come at me with everything you've got, Saiyan," and that's the first thing Gohan does, because with Gohan throwing the first punch, he went along to tell Beerus, "I am not the same person you fought on Earth, Lord Beerus, so don't think that this is going to end the same way it did before." So Gohan knows that not only has he gotten stronger, but he also goes as far as to acknowledge to Beerus that he is not the same fighter, that in fact he has improved and he has a lot more to show for it, as of course Gohan ends up connecting the first punch. What ends up happening is the minute we get to see Gohan actually connect the punch, Beerus is shown having to grab onto Gohan's punch while standing there, grinning at him right before he actually ends up making contact by punching Gohan directly in the face, and this ends up sending Gohan flying out in the distance. As Gohan ends up crashing through a pile of rocks, we get to see how Gohan is on the floor in pain from one simple attack from Beerus, but then Gohan is shown slowly standing on up, climbing out through the rubble with all the dust surrounding him, with Gohan having to be bloody, injured, and he goes on to say to himself, I couldn't even see him hit me. As Beerus went along to tell Gohan, it's just as I thought. You have barely improved since the time I slapped you around on Earth. Shame. It would appear that this fight has already ended before it even started. You will never be like Goku, insinuating the fact that Gohan hasn't gotten any stronger. He will never be like his father, considering the fact that Beerus is now tossing his father's name in his face. But to then add insult to injury by telling Gohan that he's lesser than his own father, allowed Gohan to respond by telling Beerus, for someone who holds the title of God, you sure lack the awareness of one. Don't get ahead of yourself. This is far from over. As Gohan quickly charges on in again, we observe how Beerus is smiling, with Whis having to observe by saying to himself, interesting. As Gohan goes from attacking directly from the front and now having to attack from the back, Gohan quickly goes for a strike as he hopes to knock Beerus back, but then Beerus ends up quickly blocking off Gohan's attack, as now Beerus is shown having to be on the offensive, with a bloody Gohan having to try and defend himself from Beerus's attacks. As even though Gohan lacks the necessary power in being able to take Beerus down, with Gohan being able to somehow hold his own in defending himself against Lord Beerus, Beerus went along to say to himself, there's something different about this Saiyan, which only prompts Beerus to get even more serious than how he was before, and Gohan immediately catches on, as out of nowhere both of them disappear in having to go head to head against each other, with Gohan having to be on the offensive, and every time Gohan is shown throwing a punch, throwing a kick, Beerus is easily dodging all of Gohan's attacks, as Gohan went along to cry out, I won't let my friends and family down anymore, with Gohan literally doing everything he can to stay in this fight against the God of Destruction, punch after punch, kick after kick, even attempting to backhand Beerus. Beerus ends up teleporting behind Gohan, with Gohan looking back and acknowledging the fact that this fight is basically useless unless he can actually do some damage to Beerus, which is why Gohan is then prompted to attack yet again, but just as fast as Gohan went in for the punch, Beerus then ended up disappearing, with Beerus then quickly teleporting in front of Gohan again by delivering yet another shot. The illustration of this fight basically dictates the idea that they're fighting back and forth, teleporting left and right, so even though Gohan is doing everything he can to attack Beerus, it is insinuated that Beerus is simply countering by teleporting away and then retaliating whenever he finds an opening. And with Gohan showing breathing out heavy, Beerus went along to tell Gohan, I admire your will to fight, Gohan, but you have no chance. Being in typical fashion the god that he is, he's laughing in Gohan's face. He's basically rubbing salt on the wound, as Gohan is really trying to do everything he can to stay in this fight against him, which then left Gohan with no other choice than to raise his power even more than how it was before. And it's quite interesting to see the fact that Beerus really wants to see what Gohan is capable of, and with Gohan having to be bodied in Battle of Gods and then never being shown to fight Beerus ever again, it's most interesting to see how Gohan would fare up against Beerus now, especially with at least some training under his belt, as Gohan was relentless. He kept going for the attack, but Beerus kept blocking off Gohan's efforts, so in the end, no matter what Gohan did, it really didn't matter. But then, the second we saw Gohan aim for Beerus's face and nearly strike him, what Beerus ended up doing was floating down onto the ground, with Gohan having to pursue him, and as Gohan had done so, Beerus went along to tell him, very impressive, Saiyan, but you still have no chance. And this really catches Gohan's attention, as Whis went along to say to himself, oh dear, I don't think Gohan is going to last much longer. So even Whis is disappointed, but at least Beerus is giving Gohan some credit, as Gohan went along to say to himself, how is he doing this? With Beerus having to respond, this was a letdown. It's over, Saiyan, with Beerus having to backflip and kicking Gohan directly in the chin, with Gohan having to stagger back. Beerus ends up teleporting behind Gohan, as of course he just got kicked in the face, and with one simple attack we get to see how Beerus puts his palm on Gohan's spine, until out of nowhere a massive explosion is seen happening in the sky, with Gohan then having to be shown floating down onto the ground. After the battle, of course, with Beerus having to stand in front of him, the fight is essentially over, and Gohan had seemed to give all of his power and all of his efforts in this fight just to see if he had a chance, and with Beerus then having to cock his fist back, he then went along to tell Gohan, sleep now, Saiyan, and the second we see Beerus throw that punch, out of nowhere, we see how Gohan is able to latch on and grab onto Beerus's punch, with something eerily enough happening to Gohan that we haven't seen since the era of Battle of Gods. His eyes are different, his eyebrows powers are different, Gohan seems to have changed, as out of nowhere it would appear that Gohan had somehow tapped into the powers of Super Saiyan God. With both Beerus and Whis surprised, Whis went along to state, "Oh my, is that," with Beerus having to comment, "those eyes, that hair, that power. He's achieved Super Saiyan God," as the manga chapter special then comes to a close. Now, the idea of Gohan actually receiving training following the events of ROF, BOG, the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament, everything before the events of Goku Black actually makes sense in the idea that with the overall story direction, we could potentially see a Ultimate Gohan with possibly the powers of Super Saiyan God go toe-to-toe against Goku Black in the future timeline, if of course the artist wants to continue this. Now, the art in and of itself isn't all that great. We've all seen fan mangas before with amazing detail and art behind what's being portrayed on screen, but I think the overall direction here of giving Gohan some shine and allowing him to actually feel relevant, I think is very important going forward, because I do believe that there is going to be a continuation from this. But the question here is, what do you guys want to see? Do you guys think it would be suitable to see Gohan in the future Black arc involved with Goku Black and Zamasu somehow? Would you guys like to see a different kind of spin-off to where Gohan fights an entirely new opponent? Because I like the overall direction of Gohan actually receiving training, and for someone that might be asking the question of how Gohan received Super Saiyan God, it can almost be the same way of Vegeta achieving it, in a sense to where the ritual was done for Goku in achieving Super Saiyan God, and thus Gohan may have possibly received a surge of energy that allowed him to tap into this power. It's not fully explained as to how or why, but I can only assume that this was because Gohan was a part of the ritual, and being the fact that he was able to somehow tap into this power, now we have Super Saiyan God Gohan actually be a thing in this fan manga. But I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think that the way Gohan fought Beerus is accurate in the idea that Beerus would just slap him around until Gohan actually achieves Super Saiyan God, or do you guys think that with Gohan having incredible potential that he would stand a much better chance than even his father did if he actually received training? Again, I want to thank you all so much for your time. Thank you all so much for watching. If of course you guys enjoyed this fan manga and cannot wait to see more, then be sure to give this video a big thumbs up by slapping that like button down below. If of course you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload. Tune back in for the next video, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace. And a quick little reminder before you guys go, if you guys are unaware, I do have a second gaming channel located down in the description box below, so be sure to head on over to Unreal Royale and hit that subscribe button along with turning on all notifications, as to there, you guys will find all different kinds of gaming content that you will not get to find on UnrealEntGaming, titles and video games such as Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Gears of War, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, Dragon Ball Z Legends, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Minecraft, Blair Witch, and many other retro games on that channel. So if you guys are into gaming, then make sure you guys subscribe over on Unreal Royale. I want to thank you all so much for your time, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead! Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck, Zarbon? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!
But once you get video, lots of likes, or Bill will turn you into chocolate! Vados, get over here! Tell these mortals that I'm the biggest UnrealEntGaming fan. This is my moment. I'm a part of his notification squad. Universe 7 can have all the fun. I just want the food.
And don't forget to leave a comment on this video. Show some love for the best community on YouTube.
Kakarot!